very good evening to you and welcome to Global News on ATN. To begin, let's take a look at the headlines. Heavy impounds boats over oil theft. IGP bans vigilante from Ondo-Guba pole. Tinubu arrives in Saudi Arabia. Budget deficit to GDP hits 7.5%. Israeli strikes kill 30 persons. West Brom beat Hull City. Peter Okoye debunks song theft allegation. Operatives of the Nigerian Navy's Operation Delta Sanity have intercepted and impounded 3 wooden boats laden with large amounts of stolen crude oil. A statement on its verified Facebook page on Sunday, it said, Operation Delta Sanity Forward Operating Base Formoso intercepted and impounded 3 wooden boats laden with large amounts of stolen crude oil and illegal refined AGO in Igbomotoro, Southern Ijol local government area, Bayelsa State. Consequently, 2 female suspects were apprehended in the process and have been handed over to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. All Progressives Congress Transition Committee says it did not invite the outgoing Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki to the inauguration of Senator Monday Okpebolo as the new governor of the state because the former had planned to frustrate the inauguration ceremony. This is coming after Senator Monday Okpebolo, the APC candidate, emerged as the governor-elect to take over from the outgoing governor, Obaseki, whose 8 years of 2 tenures as governor would come to an end on November 12, 2024. Okpebolo defeated his closest rival, Asue Igodalo of the People's Democratic Party, and 15 other political party candidates at the September 21st, 2024 governorship election. Prince Kasim Afebua, a member of the APC Transition Committee, in a statement made available to newsmen in Benin City, titled Obaseki and His Lamentations, said rather than sit down to plan the inauguration event as it is done in other climes, the outgoing governor was busy planting landmines on the path to smooth a transfer of power. Afebua also denied the allegation by Governor Obaseki that the governor-elect has borrowed between 2 billion naira and 5 billion naira from the almost 27 billion naira his government set aside for the payment of projects and obligations for the inauguration. Governor Obaseki had last on Friday, while inaugurating the 10-man caretaker committee of the state's chapter of PDP, and the governor of the state was not invited to the inauguration. Edo State Governor-elect Senator Monday Okpebolo has alleged the state governor, Godwin Obaseki, has disappeared from the state. A statement to newsmen on Sunday and signed by God's Power in Igbe, Okpebolo said Edo people are worried by Obaseki's reckless statements and urged him to evaluate his state of mind. The governor-elect in the statement raised the alarm regarding the whereabouts of Obaseki, whom he claimed reportedly fled Benin City, the Edo State capital, using a disguised bus, adding that Obaseki is making the false claims to shift attention away from his sinister plans to leave the country through the land borders. This is coming after Governor Obaseki on Saturday claimed that Senator Okpebolo did not invite him to his inauguration slated for next Tuesday. And according to the unpopular outgoing governor, Senator Monday Okpebolo stole the mandates freely given to him by Edo people. In his reactions, the governor-elect said he won the elections convincingly and added that the tribunal will soon validate his claims, adding that Governor Obaseki will not get away with the reckless claims. Anambra State government has commenced an investigation into the $3.3 million romance fraud case involving the newly elected chairman of Ogbaru local government area of the state, Franklin Nwadialo, in the United States. This is coming after the Anambra Council boss was recently arrested in Texas by the Federal Bureau of Investigation for allegedly running a $3.3 million romance scam. A statement by the U.S. Department of Justice said the 40-year-old was accused of using false images in his profile to defraud a vulnerable woman of their hard-earned money, and also said the Anambra politicians duped 3 more persons of the sum of $330,000, $270,000 and $310,000 respectively. According to the U.S. Justice Department, the Anambra Council boss would be transferred to the Western District of Washington for arraignment as the 14 counts charges leveled against him border on wire fraud, which is liable to 20 years imprisonment. The Anambra State Commissioner for Local Government, Community and Chieftaincy Affairs, Tony Collins Nwabunwane, said the state government had commenced an investigation to ascertain the true position of the fraud case. Inspector General of Police Kayode Igbotokun has banned the Western Nigeria Security Network, condemned Amotekun and codenamed Amotekun and Vigilante Corps, among others, from participating in the Ondo governorship election, and 17 political parties will participate in the election slated for November 16th, 2024. A statement on Sunday by the force spokesman, Muyiwa Adejobi, the IG ordered the deployment of officers from various specialized units, including the Special Intervention Squad, Police Mobile Force, Counter-Terrorism Unit, Special Protection Unit, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit, and K9 Unit, among others. Adding that aerial patrols would be conducted with police helicopters, while gunboats would patrol the state's waterways and riverine areas to ensure security across all terrains. The statement also said the IGP has confirmed that comprehensive plans are set in motion to guarantee a smooth election, including the strategic deployment of adequate personnel resources and state-of-the-art equipment. He said in addition to ground personnel, aerial patrols will be conducted with police helicopters, while gunboats will patrol the state's waterways and riverine areas to ensure security across all terrains. Adding that the comprehensive measures will serve as a deterrent to any attempt to disrupt the electoral process and will enhance the overall stability of the elections. Adejobi also said the IG vowed to deal with political thugs or individuals planning to disrupt the elections, adding that only the federal security agencies and other members of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security would be allowed to participate in the election. Federal Capital Territory Police has confirmed the arrest of a suspected car thief, Stephen Abang, in Plateau State. A statement issued on Sunday by the FCT Police Public Relations Officer, SP Josephine Ade, said the arrest followed a complaint by one Mr. Philemon Olaoluwa, who reported to the Central Police Divisional Headquarters after his vehicle was stolen. She said Mr. Olaoluwa's car developed a mechanical fault, and a friend recommended he engage a mechanic from Mechanic Village, FCT, named Abdulhamid Saidu, and is currently at large. And Mr. Olaoluwa, unaware of the motives of the mechanic, released his vehicle with its documents inside the car, but instead of repairing it, Saidu disappeared with the car. Abang confirms that he received the vehicle from his accomplice, Saidu, at Abang's workshop. 2 additional vehicles, a Hyundai Accent and a Peugeot 208, likely stolen as well, were in the process of being rebranded. The police also said Abang is now in custody and will be charged to court following further investigations. Kano State Police Command has detained 2 suspected railway track vandals and recovered 40 pieces of iron rod from the suspects. The command's spokesperson, ASP Mansur Hassan, who confirmed the incidents on Sunday in Kaduna, said Mr. Yusuf Dogo, a member of the vigilance group in Nami in Gagarko local government area in Kaduna State, came to police station and reported that he cited some suspects vandalizing railway track at Nami village. And operatives with the vigilance group members moved to the scene and nabbed 2 suspects breaking a concrete bridge, removing the iron rod. He identified the suspects as Joel Musa and John Yakubu, all from Pakao village in Gakarko local government area, while some of suspects escaped from the scene. Hassan also appealed for timely and useful information for prompt action to tackle the menace. Taraba State Governor Agbu Kefas has approved a new policy requiring all tertiary institutions spread across the state to hold convocations on an annual basis. The directive, according to him, is aimed at promoting timely graduation ceremonies and reinforcing the academic standards. The governor, who gave the directives at the combined convocation ceremony of the College of Education, Zing, during the weekend, and underscored the state's government's commitment to advancing higher education and ensuring that institutions adhere to regular academic schedules. Governor Kefas stressed that the move would foster a culture of consistency and celebration of academic achievement across Taraba's institutions, adding that the policy is expected to enhance the student experience by providing graduates with timely recognition of their accomplishments. Reiterating his administration's commitment to an educational reforms agenda that seeks to build a future where quality education is accessible and affordable. He emphasized that true wealth encompasses more than the state's natural resources and economic growth potential. Tragic road accident has claimed the lives of 15 people in Mairua village along the Funtua-Sokoto highway. The Federal Road Safety Course described the incident as avoidable and preventable, attributing it to poor vehicle maintenance and driver negligence. According to a statement by the FRSC spokesperson, Olusegun Ogunwemide, the crash occurred when a Toyota Hiace bus loaded with passengers from Kano suffered a tire burst, causing the driver to lose control, and the bus collided head-on with a Sino truck operated by the Dangote Group. The impact led to multiple casualties, primarily among bus passengers. Reacting to the tragedy, FRSC Coast Marshal Shehu Mohammed expressed deep concern over the frequent occurrences of accidents due to poor vehicle maintenance, adding that adherence to traffic regulations, including routine checks and observing legal speed limits, could have averted the crash. He also advised drivers to ensure vehicle maintenance are complied with traffic regulations to curb the wave of tragedy in road accidents. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has reopened the state's Horticulture and Livestock Institutes while presenting 340 admission letters to students as part of an initiative to combat youth unemployment and equip young people with practical skills. Yusuf's spokesman, Sunusu Tofa, who disclosed these in a statement in Bagauda, Bebeji local government area of Kano. The governor highlighted the importance of the institutions in reducing youth redundancy by providing them with valuable skills to contribute positively to society, adding that the Horticulture Institute, in addition to its focus on environmental beautification and health, offers students pathways to earn a livelihood in the sector. According to Yusuf, horticultural skills extend beyond financial benefits as graduates will also contribute to the natural beauty and environmental health of the communities, while the Livestock Institute is set to train 140 students in practical skills, including ram fattening, animal husbandry, and meat quality improvement, enhancing the capacity to contribute to Kano's agricultural economy. The governor expressed disappointment over the previous administration's closure of the institutes, a decision he regarded as a setback to youth development, and assured that his administration is committed to expanding opportunities for young people in the state, as well as laying a foundation for a better society. Governor Yusuf said in line with this policy, the government has provided essential infrastructure to support students' learning, including accommodation, a reliable water system, and solar energy to ensure a conducive environment. Defense headquarters say troops deployed for counter-terrorism operations eliminated a total of 169 terrorists and arrested no fewer than 641 suspects in various theaters of operations, and 70 of the terrorists were killed. In Kuala Ram, Borno State, by airstrikes. A statement by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Buba Edward, said several terrorists were dislodged from their hideouts with airstrikes by the Air Force, as well as ground operations by ground forces to dislodge terrorists from their enclaves, killing several of them. Buba also said during the operations against oil theft, 40 suspected oil thieves were arrested and stole crude oil worth 1 billion naira was recovered. You're watching the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. To stay with us. Welcome back. This is the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu arrived in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Sunday to attend the Joint Arab Islamic Summit, set to begin on Monday, 11 November 2024. The summit, hosted by King Salman and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, will focus on the current issues in the Middle East. According to a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, Tinubu is expected to address the ongoing Israel-Palestinian conflict, highlighting Nigeria's call for an immediate ceasefire and a peaceful resolution, and will also advocate for reviving the two-state solution to achieve lasting peace in the region. The president is accompanied by key officials, including Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, National Security Advisor, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, Minister of Information and National Orientation, and Ambassador Mohammed, Director General of the National Intelligence Agency. Ruling All Progressives Congress has warned opposition parties in the country not to get too excited over the defeat of Kamala Harris, an incumbent vice president in the United States presidential election, saying President Bola Tinubu will sweep the poll again in 2027. This is coming after former President Donald Trump was announced as the winner of the U.S. poll on Wednesday, defeating Harris in a stunning political comeback that sent shockwaves across the world. And the 78-year-old business mogul became the 47th president and the oldest person ever to win the White House. Reacting, the National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, Obiora Ifo, described the U.S. election, which was monitored globally, as a true test of democracy, stressing that the Independent National Electoral Commission has a lot to learn from the just concluded poll. Ifor said it was interesting to see how the American voting public ignored the incumbency factor, which is still a big deal in Africa and specifically Nigeria's election system. While the spokesman for the new Nigerian People's Party, Ladipo Johnson, said though the U.S. Explorer system is complex and has come a long way, wondering when Nigeria would end the era of tight leaders using the power of incumbency and security apparatus to intimidate opposition could stop. Despite the development, the National Publicity Director of the APC, Bala Ibrahim, has warned the opposition not to get carried away with the outcome of the U.S. election, saying the electoral processes between the two countries are different, and expressed conviction that by the time Nigerians begin to harvest the reward of the economic reforms put in place by the president, they would applaud and urge him to continue. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has urged President Bola Tinubu to stop public office holders and Nigeria's 36 governors from usurping the authority and responsibilities of the National Judicial Council and heads of courts through the giving of cars and houses to judges. According to Sarab, the actions have compelled the judiciary to be submissive to the executive arm of government. A statement signed by Service Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare urged the President to direct the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Mr. Lateef Fagbemi to challenge in court the constitutionality and legality of the practice of members of the executive giving cars and houses to judges in Abuja and across the states. The organization asked Tinubu to improve the working conditions and welfare of the nation's judiciary through existing constitutional arrangements and mechanisms, as his government is constitutionally mandated to safeguard the rule of law. Sarab had also urged Tinubu to substantially improve funding for the judiciary to enhance the working conditions, welfare and pensions through existing constitutional arrangements and mechanisms, to uphold the independence and autonomy of the judiciary and to protect judges from executive interference. Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa says no amount of false accusations will distract the military from fulfilling its constitutional mandates to protect the nation's territorial integrity. His comment follows the outcome of an investigative panel set up by the National Human Rights Commission to review human rights allegations against the military in the Northeast. He said the panel was set up to investigate the reports published by newsmen, which accused the military of conducting a systematic, an illegal abortion program in the Northeast, terminating at least 10,000 pregnancies of women and girls, many of whom had been kidnapped and raped by Islamist militants. After concluding its investigations, the panel said it found no evidence to support the claim that the Nigerian military operated a secret program or had a policy of illegal abortions, based on testimonies from witnesses. A statement by the Director Defense Information Brigadier General Tukur Kuzau hailed the panel for the outcome of the investigation and assured that the military under him will defend human rights and restore peace in troubled parts of the country. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has congratulated Donald Trump on his recent election victory, describing it as a mark of true leadership and a reflection of the American people's confidence in his vision for the nation. In a message shared on his official X handle on Sunday, Jonathan congratulated Trump on being elected as the 47th President of the United States and expressed optimism that Trump's presidency would not propel the American dream forward, but also contribute to global peace, stability, and progress. Jonathan expressed optimistic that Trump's presidency would not only advance the American dream, but also promotes the cause for global peace, stability, and progress. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, has written to the Ministries of Education, Finance, Labor and Employment regarding the demands of the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria on the 21st October ultimatum from October 21st to November 11 to avert the doctor strike. The doctors are urging stakeholders, including the federal government, to address its demands, or its members will withdraw their services nationwide, and decry the exclusion of medical and dental lecturers based on the criteria used in the appointment of the selection process for the office of the Vice Chancellor of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Anambra State. It also demanded the harmonization of the retirement age of medical and dental consultants to 70 years to mitigate the effect of doctors' migration, and the payment of the emoluments of medical lecturers with consolidated medical salary structure to correct the shortfalls in the emolument, entry level, and the pension. National President of MDC Professor Mohammed said plans are on the way to sign a memorandum of understanding with the government regarding the association's demands, while the request on the payment of the emoluments of medical lecturers with consolidated medical salary structure is beyond the Ministry of Health and the Secretary of the Government of the Federation for the necessary action. National Examinations Council examiners say despite the examinations being marked over 3 months ago and the release of the candidates' results over a month ago, the majority of the examiners are yet to receive the wages they owed for the laborers' efforts, while only few have been paid nationwide. The examiners say they played a crucial role in ensuring the smooth conduct and evaluation of the examinations and expressed disappointment over the delay for such an extended period, adding that the duties should not be met with such negligence and disregard for the welfare, especially in the economically trying times. The statement said the examiners have issued NECO a 2-week ultimatum to resolve the issues surrounding the payments of examiners, and if the matter is not resolved within the stipulated time frame, the examiners will have no choice but to embark on a nationwide protest through coordinated efforts of members across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. Efforts to speak with the Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of NECO, Professor Dantani Wushishi, on the matter proved unsuccessful. World Health Organization and the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have committed to guiding the development of targeted mpox vaccine preparedness and deployment plans to ensure the efficient use of available doses. The decision was reached last week at a gathering of country representatives and partners in Brazzaville. The Africa CDC, in a statement on Sunday, said with anticipated mpox vaccine deliveries to the African region in the coming months, countries had requested support in identifying and mapping mpox hotspots based on local epidemiology and planning targeted vaccination strategies to reach populations at risk of mpox. This is coming after more than 120 participants from 17 countries, along with partners from Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, UNICEF, the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, as well as the United States Agency for International Development, and with support from Canada, attended the regional mpox vaccine preparedness and deployment plan development meeting, which took place from November 5 to 7, 2024. The Director General of the Africa CDC, Dr. Jean Kaseya, said the swift actions of countries across Africa to roll out targeted mpox vaccination strategies reflect an extraordinary commitment to protecting those most vulnerable. Achieving this progress within a short window underscores the ambition and resilience of our member states to halt transmission and safeguard at-risk populations. Former Director General of the National Financial Investigation Agency in Equatorial Guinea, Baltasar Engonga, has been remanded in Malabo's Black Beach prison. This is coming after the embattled former anti-grafts chief was arrested days ago for allegedly recording over 400 sex tapes involving the wives of prominent figures in the country, while the scandal surfaced during a fraud investigation into the 54-year-old economist, resulting in an impromptu search for his home and office by ANF officials, who reportedly discovered several CDs that revealed his sexual encounters with different married women. As the footage leaked online causing a media uproar, Equatorial Guinea's President Obiang Nguema Mbasogo and dismissed Egonga, and the dismissal was due to irregularities committed in the exercise of his functions, as well as inappropriate family and social conduct for the performance of public duties. Confirming the situation, French online blog Afrique Matin reported that Ngonga, who was officially removed from his role on November 6, 2024, was subsequently chained and transferred to Malabo Central Prison. He faces charges of corruption and embezzlement prison. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have dismantled 2 major cross-border drug trafficking syndicates and arrested 6 drug kingpins from Adamawa, Anambra and Lagos states, as well as Cameroon. A statement released on Sunday by the NDLEA's spokesperson Femi Babafemi, the group had been under the agency's surveillance for several months as they were major suppliers of drugs to terrorist groups operating in Nigeria and Cameroon. Babafemi said Baburo and Najib were trailed from Onitsha, where they had gone to purchase another consignment, and were arrested in Taraba the following day, and a total of 276,500 pills of tramadol were recovered from a Toyota Avensis salon car, which they abandoned on the Jalingo-Yola Expressway upon realizing NDLEA operatives were on the trail. Babafemi also said another leader of a different syndicate, Ishola, was arrested at the Seme border in Lagos on his way from Ghana with 3.3 kilometers of cocaine and 600 grains of synthetic cannabis, following months of intelligence and surveillance on his cross-border criminal activities. In another operation in Lagos, Babafemi said operatives at the Apapa seaport intercepted 31,750,000 pills of 240 milligram Voltron, a controlled opioid, which were packaged and concealed in a container imported from India as diclofenac sodium 100 milligram tablets, and was discovered during a joint examination of the container, which officers of the Customs Services and other security agencies. And now we move on to business news. Federal government's budget deficit has risen to 7.5% of the country's gross domestic product as of August 2024, reflecting a significant widening of the gap between government's revenue and expenditure. A member of the Central Bank of Nigeria Monetary Policy Committee, Mohammed Abdullahi, who disclosed these in his personal statement at the 297th MPC meeting, said the CBN economic report revealed that Nigeria's fiscal deficit surged to 4.53 trillion naira in the second quarter of 2024, up from 3.88 trillion naira in the previous quarter. Abdullahi said the development underscores the ongoing challenges the government faces in enhancing its revenue generation efforts and also signals a greater reliance on borrowing to finance the growing expenditure, raising concerns about the long-term fiscal sustainability and potential impacts on national debt levels. Highlighting the challenges posed by the situation, the MPC member stated that committee must remain proactive in dampening the likely consequences of the deficit, especially with the commencement of the new minimum wage payment. Similarly, Senior Fellow and Director of the Africa Growth Initiative at the Brookings Institution and member of the Central Bank of Nigeria Monetary Policy Committee, Aloysius Odu, while expressing his views on fiscal policy, say challenges abound that are at odds with the CBN's firm anti-inflationary stance. Federal government, through the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, has entered into a public-private partnership arrangement with a private firm to establish the maintenance, repair and overhaul facility for aircraft. A representative of the Ministry of Aviation, who spoke on condition of anonymity due to lack of authorization to speak on the matter, provided details of the agreement, said the new facility would operate as an approved maintenance organization under the regulation of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. The ministry official also said the facility, the first of its kind in Nigeria, aims to meet growing maintenance needs for aircrafts operating within the country, which currently often require expensive and time-consuming trips to foreign maintenance centers. Adding that the timeline for the start of construction and eventual operations is not yet clear, while the actual date of commercial operations will be the date on which the NCAA grants the concessionaire approvals and licenses as required by the concessionaire in the agreement. Nigeria's oil imports dropped by 35% in the second quarter of 2024, amounting to $2.79 billion, down from $4.31 billion in the previous quarter. This is according to the quarterly economic report of the Central Bank of Nigeria for the second quarter of 2024. And the reduction highlights shifting dynamics in the nation's oil and gas sector amid ongoing structural and economic adjustments following the removal of fuel subsidies under the administration of Bola Tinubu. The report also said the overall value of merchandise imports also contracted, falling by 20.59% to $8.64 billion from $10.88 billion recorded in first quarter 2024, while the sharp decline in oil imports contributed significantly to the trend and the pressures on domestic production, which fell by 4.51% to 1.27 million barrels per day. Despite these setbacks, global crude oil prices provided a slight reprieve. Nigeria's benchmark crude, Bonny Light, saw its prices rise to $86.97 per barrel in second quarter 2024, offering some relief to export revenues, while the crude oil and gas exports accounted for 87.38% of total export earnings during the quarter, although receipts fell marginally to $12.18 billion from $12.42 billion in first quarter. This is coming after the Central Bank of Nigeria released a total sum of $2.97 billion to oil sector players for the importation of petroleum products and other related items into the country. You're still watching the news in Atlantic Television Network. Up next is International Tidbits. Gaza's Civil Defense Agency says 30 people, including 13 children, were killed in an Israeli airstrike on 2 houses in the north of the Palestinian territory. The first strike early on Sunday hit a house in Jabalia, northern Gaza, killing at least 25 people, including 13 children, and injuring more than 30. While on October 6, the Israeli military engaged in a withering a ground assault in areas of northern Gaza, including Jabalia, saying they are seeking to stop Hamas militants from regrouping there. The war in Gaza erupted with Hamas' October 7, 2023 attack on southern Israel, which resulted in 1,206 deaths, mostly civilians, and Israel's retaliatory campaign has killed 43,552 people in Gaza, most of them civilians, according to figures from the Hamas-run territory's health ministry that the United Nations considers reliable. The United Nations Human Rights Office had condemned the number of civilians killed in Israel's war in Gaza, with women and children comprising nearly 70% of the thousands of fatalities it had managed to verify. Israel's main military backer, the United States, had on October 15 that it could withhold some of its billions of dollars in military assistance unless it improves aid delivery to the Gaza Strip within 30 days. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he and President-elect Trump have spoken 3 times since the election. Donald Trump is projected to have won Arizona, meaning he's taken all 7 swing states in the U.S. presidential election. And after 4 days of counting, Arizona was the final U.S. state to declare its results, giving Trump 312 electoral college votes at the end of the presidential election. Kamala Harris got 226. Trump will meet outgoing President Joe Biden in the Oval Office on Wednesday, and this will be the first encounter since the election. But Trump has said he is not keen on expensive wars and takes issues with some of Israel's settlements in the occupied West Bank, and has also urged Israel to finish the war in Gaza quickly. Ukraine's attempted strike on Moscow has reportedly its largest attack on the capital since the war began, and was described as massive by the region's governor. One person was reported injured as drones were shot down near the Russian capital, while images on social media showed a residential building on fire, and most of the drones were downed in the Ramenskoye, Kolomna, and Domodedovo districts. In September, a woman was killed in a drone attack that hit Ramenskoye, while in May last year, 2 drones were destroyed near the Kremlin in central Moscow, and there were several drone attacks in the Moscow City Business District. In Ukraine, at least 2 people were injured after a drone hit the Odessa region, and the images showed flames rising from some buildings, as well as aftermath damage. And the drone barrages comes as Russian troops reportedly made their largest territorial gains in October since March 2022. However, Sir Tony Radakin, the UK's army chief, said with Laura Kongsberg, a program that Russia had suffered its worst month for casualties since the start of the war, adding that Russian forces suffered an average of about 1,500 dead and injured every single day in October. And here now is ATN Sports. Josh Maja was on target as West Bromwich Albion defeated Hull City 2-1 at the MKM Stadium on Sunday. The visitors took the lead in the 12th minute after Caroline Grant smashed home from inside the box, while Maja doubled the advantage 5 minutes, later scrambling home from close range after he was set up by Darnell Flagg's header. It was the forward's 9th goal of the season of the Baggies, and Joel Pedro reduced the deficit for the home team 5 minutes before the break. They were, however, unable to find the equalizing goal. And now we move on to entertainment news. Popular singer and half P-Square Peter Okoye, aka Mr. P, has debunked the song theft allegation leveled against him by his twin brother and former bandmate Paul Okoye, aka Rude Boy. This is coming after Rude Boy recently accused Mr. P and the former producer Vampire of stealing his songs. He claimed that he wrote and sang a song titled Winning, which was supposed to be released with his album next year. To his surprise, Mr. P released the same song by the same producer. Reacting to the allegation, Mr. P claimed that the song was co-written and composed by himself and Calypso 60, and it was impossible for him to steal his song. His own song is claimed by his twin brother. He begged his brother to allow him to focus on making music and stop the negativity. And that's the size of the package in the global news for tonight. Before we go another look at the major stories, we told you that Navy impounds boats oil theft